Accident Investigation Branch, Chief Inspector. Come in. Make it as soon as possible.
Want to see me, sir?
Oh, yes, sit down, Milton.
Thanks, sir.
Just one moment. Your course to the accident branch, sir. You're through.
Air Commodore Benson. Oh, good morning, sir. Wing Commander Stanfield, 733 Squadron speaking. I expect you got my signal about this morning's crash. As you know, it's the second we've had this week, and I'm rather worried about them. I'd be glad if you could spare Wakefield to come over and investigate this one, too.
Yes, I'd already decided to have him deal with this case. He's out at the moment, but when he comes in, I'm sending him over straight away.
Right, sir, thanks. Goodbye. See, now, what did I want you for? Oh, yes, I signed your leave chit. The adjutant has it. I'm afraid we can't make it more than 10 days this time, so we're going to be really busy.
Oh, that's okay. Thanks, sir.
I take it you'll be going to my place to see Joan. I wonder if you'd be good enough to give her this parcel. You might remind her that I'm her father and not her sugar daddy.
Yes, certainly. Oh, by the way, sir, are the rest of my crew getting leave too?
Yes, you're all going.
Oh, thank you, sir. Then I'll collect some operational leave petrol and give the boys a lift to town.
Well, make the most of your leave, and don't go and kill yourself in that car of yours.
Say, we're flying pretty low this morning, aren't we?
You should talk. I bet you don't even know where we are.
Okay, perhaps I don't. But prithee, stop at yon ancient hostelry just ahead, sire, where we can get a pinpoint, a pint...
Yes, yes, quite.
Bears, fellas?
Yes, please.
4 bitters, please. Oh, and can you tell us where we are?
Little Mollingford, sir.
I still don't know where we are, but I know where I shall be for the next 10 days. I'm going up to town. I booked a room at the Piccadilly Palace.
I hope Doc will fix you up with some sick leave when you get back. You'll need it.
I hope.
Cheers.
Oh, Jock, I suppose you'll be going over the border to see the Bonnie Bears.
I sure am. I'll be heading north just as fast as my horse can take it.
Clark, what have you got lined up?
Well, for Pete's sake, he's only been married 5 minutes. What do you think he'd be doing?
Come on, boys, drink up.
We all know what Johnny's gonna do. He's chasing the Winco's daughter. Hey, Johnny, I bet you $1 you're gonna lose your nerve again this time.
The trouble is she might say no, and I'd hate that to happen.
If that chap doesn't pop the question this time, I have to put him on a charge.
What you got there? Give it to me. Come on. John! How'd you get here? Why didn't you let me know? Oh, I'm glad you didn't. It's such a lovely surprise. Let me look at you. Can't believe my eyes. Oh, Johnny, how long have you got?
10 days.
Grand. How are you?
Fine.
Me too. And how's Daddy?
He's very fit.
And Robin?
I'm afraid Robin had it this morning. He dived straight into the deck and they were all killed.
Johnny.
Lord knows what caused it. Your friend Wakefield's going to investigate.
Thank heavens you're here. Come on. We've only got 10 days. We'd better make the most of it.
Well, if you understand that, you've got all the information I can give you. Here's the place on the map.
It's near the airfield.
That's right. Here's a copy of the signal.
And
And there are the files of the previous crash.
that seems to be quite clear, sir. By the way, do you mind if I take along Flying Officer Taylor? Remember the officer with the gammy leg who's just joined us for investigation duties? He seems very keen.
Yes, of course. Get along there as quickly as you can.
Right, sir. As I told you, it's the second Marlborough this week. We've got to solve it today, if possible, or there may be more. Here's my report on the first crash. Look at it. Aircraft took off normally, climbed normally, flew normally, and for no apparent reason dived into the ground. Everybody killed. The same thing appears to have happened this morning. The annoying part was that when I got to the spot, the policeman gave me a piece of the rear spar of the tailplane, which some man had picked up. It But apparently the man couldn't remember where he'd found it. It might have been very valuable if I'd known just where it had fallen. As it is, while I still have my suspicions, I've got nothing conclusive. Now, the point is, had that man been sensible and left the bit where he found it, it might have yielded all that I wanted to know, and so have prevented this morning's crash. Let's see, we passed the spot on the way to the airfield. We'll stop and have a look at the crash before we call on the wing commander. It's as well to get to these places as soon as possible.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, Corporal.
Thank you, sir.
Has there been any interference with the aircraft?
Not since I've been here, sir. But before I arrived, there were several people clambering over the wreckage.
There you are again. It happens every time. The public seem to regard a crash as a legitimate chance for climbing over a plane and souvenir hunting, when even by walking within 100 yards, they may destroy a vital piece of evidence that would solve the problem. Unless anyone can actually help in rescuing the crew, we should keep right away, and keep everybody else away too. And it isn't only the public that's to blame either. You may be surprised to know that on one occasion we thought a plane had been brought down by enemy action because there were bullet holes in the airframe. We discovered afterwards that 2 sentries, browned off for the dull guard, had let their rifles off into the plane, just for the fun of it.
Yes, I can see the sort of thing we're up against. Remind me to tell Mrs. Stanfield that her daughter's becoming very forward. But I like it. Well, darling, here's to my latest car. Incidentally, the owner told me to tell you that he adores you.
Of course, Johnny, you never could devote all your affections to one person. I suppose I'll now be taking second place to the car.
That's just where you're wrong. There's only one thing I want in the whole world, and that's...
White lady, sir?
How right he is. But still, that doesn't help me. It's difficult to explain what I mean, but what I'm trying to say is that... Darling, it's true then. Waiter, the champagne.
Coming, sir.
I've been living for this moment, Johnny. I can hardly believe it.
And I've had this for months.
You cheat. How you like keeping me in suspense. I love it too.
Judging from these reports and other details, it seems we've nothing definite to go on.
Nothing definite at all, sir. Several bits of the aircraft are missing. One of the pieces that I particularly wanted had actually been removed. So once again, although I have an idea or two, the evidence is very slender.
Well, both these cases seem to have one common feature. Failure of elevator control. We know it's not the cables, they're intact. So it's imperative that we find that missing portion from the rear spar of the tailplane. We must search until it's found.
Just think, we've been married 4 months, and I've only washed up 6 times.
Well, you've made up for it in other ways.
Yes.
En la tierra cubana, de la rumba a la cuna, yo consigo quisiera por siempre vivir. Ay, mi linda morena, vámonos para Cuba.
Boy, if you could only cook.
Johnny, you are a fool.
Sir, may I have permission to ask your permission to marry your daughter? Oh, that's not much good, is it?
Not very.
Look, what about this, the more confidential angle? I say, sir, While I was on leave, Joan and I, we...
Oh, but we didn't. Okay.
Yes, fine. Come in. Oh, hello, Milton. Sit down. Hope you had a good leave.
Fine, thank you, sir.
Look, I know you've only been back for a few hours, but I wonder if you'd mind going on a trip. It's very special. Get all the details from the ops room. It's a 3-aircraft sortie. Takeoff 14:30, target area 15:30. That's a lot, I think.
Oh, excuse me, sir. I didn't want to mention it now, but as I am going out on this raid, I'd like to have your permission to marry Joan. Good heavens, I've said it.
Of course, my boy. Joan phoned me a week ago.
Navigator calling pilot. We're dead on track. Should be over target in 2 minutes.
Good old Shorty, dead on ETA. Stand by, boys. Keep your eyes skinned. We're running on target.
They should be over the target now. I want you and the other 2 crews who are standing by to take off as quickly as possible if anything goes wrong. With Milden on the job, I don't think anything will.
Boy, what a show! Bet Jerry's still wondering what hit him.
Lucky Johnny again. Must have been their day off. Not a shot fired.
What's the matter, old thing? Been avoiding action?
What's the matter now?
Something's gone wrong. Shorty, come and give me a hand. The stick's jammed.
Where's the engineer, officer?
I say,
Oh, run away and play.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were someone else.
May I have a word with you? Official business, of course. It's about this crash. Did you see it?
Well, I heard it.
Any luck?
Yes, I had a chat with the land girl.
Oh, did you get anything out of her? Relating to the accident, I mean.
Yes, she heard the crash, but when she got there, she found some children playing around it. So I suppose I'd better get along to the school.
It's incredible. It's the 3rd time a piece of spar with a hinge bracket has been lost. We must find the outer hinge. Yes. I'll see the pilot as soon as I can. You cut along to the school and the police station. And book a couple of rooms at the Crown. I'll see you there later.
Quiet, children. The officer from the RAF has something to say to you.
Well, children, I suppose most of you have been down to see the plane that crashed yesterday. Now, hands up any boy or girl who's been up near the crashed plane.
Now, children, hands up anyone who's seen the crash. No one's going to be cross with you.
Hands up any of you who's taken some bit from the plane. That's better. Now bring them over to me, will you? Is this all you have? Hasn't anyone else got any pieces? Well, they haven't brought me all I'd hoped to find, but thanks all the same. Perhaps you'd have a word with them about leaving planes alone. I'd be very grateful if you would. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Don't you worry about me, darling. At least I'm alive. Think what the other boys' folks must be feeling.
Don't know how they could stand it. Oh, Johnny, thank God you were saved.
I'm afraid I'm not much good to you now.
Darling, we're going to be married just as soon as you're well enough.
I'll have a talk to these witnesses right away. In the meantime, I'd be glad if you would organize a beating party. The Home Guard will probably help you out.
And we got to search for any pieces that looks as though they might have come off an aircraft.
That's right. I'm sorry to give you all this extra work, but time's an important factor, and lives depend on it.
We'll do our best, sir.
Hello, you two.
Hello.
Well, that's a fine mess to get yourself in, Johnny. Making more work for me, too.
Don't keep him too long, Charles. Goodbye, darling. See you tomorrow.
Bye, bless you.
Bye.
Goodbye. Well, I won't keep you long, old man. As a matter of fact, I think I know all you can tell me already.
I'm afraid there isn't very much I do know.
Evening, sir.
Well,
Any luck, sir?
complete washout. Door blank everywhere. How'd you get on?
Not a thing.
Well, gentlemen, what can I get you?
I'll have a beer, sir, thank you.
A beer, no scotch, please.
I expect you two officers have come down to see that crash. A nasty business, that.
Yes, a very nasty business.
Talking about that crash, you should see the rabbit huts that young Tom and one of his pals have made. The little rascals, they've taken a bit of that plane and they've used it to make a hinge for the door. But for the life of me, I don't know where he got the wire netting from.
Did I hear you say that your boy has a piece from that aircraft?
Yes, Governor. What's wrong with that?
There's a lot wrong with it. Well, my boy, if you knew how valuable this may be to us, I'm sure you never would have touched it. A perfect example of fatigue failure. Take a look. Just a simple little thing like that. Probably a faulty batch. Nobody's fault, but if we'd only known this after the first crash, we'd almost certainly been able to save the other two. We must go on to Defects Air Ministry at once.
Yes, well, this one's conclusive. And as the symptoms were precisely the same in the other cases, it's reasonable to assume the same cause. Will you check on all Marlborough aircraft immediately? I'm convinced the design's all right. And it's only a matter of inspecting all existing brackets. Right? Yes, I'm glad it's solved at last.
Yes, Mother, I know he might have been shot down by the enemy, but I think he's been crippled for life by his own countrymen.
In order to prevent accidents, we must know why they happen. I am the Air Ministry Chief Inspector of Accidents, the real one. And this film has been made at my request in order to let the British public know the kind of thing that so often takes place. The story is not an exaggeration of the facts, and I hope it's made clear the sort of thing that might happen due to interference with wreckage of crashed aircraft. I'm sure nobody would intentionally add to the loss of lives of those in the services, yet, as this film has shown, that is exactly what's happening today. If you have been the witness of an accident, we would of course like to know what you saw. But unless you're certain that you can help in rescuing somebody, please keep away from a crash and keep others away, especially children.